Friday. It's Friday. I'm really glad it's Friday. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely need it. I want to wish everybody doing Chicago Triathlon really good luck. I know that that's coming up, and then Worlds is coming up next week for South Africa. I know a lot of people are going to have a really big trip ahead of them, so I don't know what's going to be more painful. Hey, Jamie, what's going on, my man? I don't know what's going to be more painful, to travel to South Africa or actually doing it. One of the things that I deal with all the time, I just came back from Chicago last week. We did a talk about Ironman Wisconsin. So we posted it as a podcast. So if you're interested, if you're doing Ironman Wisconsin, we have a really, really good podcast. We kind of go through a lot of people's questions in that as well. And so one of the things that I had come up there, and another thing that I run into a lot, especially right now, and if I'm being honest, even with myself right now too, it's just like staying motivated, and especially at this time of the year, because a lot of times people have been pushing pretty hard, and some people are maybe wrapping things up. Some people have overlap where maybe they keep going. And so it's definitely that time of year where it's like, you know, people come to the talk and they're like, do we really have to do one more long ride? You know, I thought I could just taper in for 3 weeks, and we could talk about taper on a whole another subject. And we've done podcasts on that too, but you're so close. You're almost there. And now it's the time where you really want to start forecasting and feel what that finish line is going to feel like, and what you're going to feel like on that start line, and what you're going to feel like on that finish line, because that's exactly what I go to as well. And I have to be honest, even I've been riding inside a lot this year, just for a variety of reasons, but I was reaching out to Matt Russell the other day too, because I know he also trains inside a lot too. And I'm like, dude, how do you stay so motivated? Because he's always inside, and he's like, sometimes I move my trainer around so that I have a little bit different perspective, or I know that I sometimes will switch from music to podcasts to movies and that kind of stuff. But I will say this, one of the things that I think actually stems from motivation is this is the time of year people are looking for affirmation that they're ready to race. And the best thing, or not the best, but the one thing that they all seem to be doing right now, or I know I have done before, is you're trying to train at race pace or even slightly faster, or you want every workout to affirm to you that you're ready to hit your pace goals. And look, that makes complete sense in terms of the psychology behind that. I've definitely done it. The hardest thing for me to communicate to my athletes is sometimes you just have to get out there and do the work. Now, you have to obviously balance that. Hopefully you and your coach can balance the fact if you're overtired or if you're tired by design. That's a really big difference. But one of the things that I would suggest, no matter what it is that you're training for, is a lot of your intervals right now, as you go into them, try to think about, you want to leave something on the table leaving. So it's way better to err on the idea of, okay, when I finish these intervals, I think I would like to feel like I maybe could have done a little bit more. I just was reading this book again about training, and it was talking about not doing your best pace, but your optimal pace. And a lot of times in training, your optimal pace is just a little bit slower or a little bit less effort than what you think that you need to, because that's going to help make you feel more in control as well. And that's another thing that you really want to feel as you're going into these races at the end of the season, is that you have the ability to control. And the other thing I will also say is, when I look at my week, I think about every workout in terms of what the whole week is going to ask me to do. So even when I'm riding on Tuesday, I'm doing the intervals, but I'm also thinking about how hard can I do these intervals so that I also feel good enough to do these or something on Wednesday and Thursday, and so I can also hit the weekend. And that is something that I think a lot of triathletes really fall short of, not short in terms of effort, but short in terms of their thinking. And they really feel like every workout has to be a PR and everyone has to really kind of nail it. And if you're thinking that, it's just not, you're just not set up to have success right now, which is going to lead back to that motivation. And so if you're always looking for every workout to be like a breakthrough workout right now, that's going to help deteriorate your motivation, because it's impossible right now. You should be carrying some fatigue right now. You know, it's funny because you think about, a lot of people probably train 15 hours or less a week. And if you're doing an Ironman or even a half Ironman, you're spreading out the volume over a week for what you're trying to do in a day, you know? And so the point is to build the intensities and build the training and build the fatigue through the week so you are hitting some of your workouts fatigued. That's the only way you can kind of replicate and train sometimes the muscles to be ready to be prepared for the day that you're going to do everything all in one day. So keeping perspective of what's actually required and making sure that you're doing the intensities right. Another good rule of thumb that I'll leave you with is if I have a series of intervals right now and I'm not exactly sure how they're going to go, you know, I think I live in the hottest place on earth. I'm not going to lie. I'll come home sometimes and tell Tanya, like, I can't remember a day I haven't been completely drenched from sweat and or rain or some combination. But my intensities and my paces have been so different this year that I've had to do a lot of, look, I'm going to go out and do 10K effort, and whatever 10K effort actually yields right now, it's what it's going to have to be. And so what I'll do is, if I'm not 100% sure what that output is going to be, start conservative. So if I'm doing, for example, 6-800s, I like to try to break them up in series of 2s. So I'll say, okay, I'm going to do these first 2 where I feel like, you know, I'm working. It's not like I'm ignoring the interval, but at the same time, I'm trying to set myself up for the ability to improve. And a lot of times, I'm not going to lie, sometimes just my effort gets stronger, but my pace stays the same. And that is where you have to be really smart and be objective and say, okay, obviously I'm out here, it's 97 degrees, it's 78% humidity, I need a drink. I don't suddenly suck at triathlon or running, you know, I have to, so remember that, right? And trust that on race day, things are going to come together and that the work is going to be there. And I can tell you that at Santa Rosa this year, I was running about 90 seconds per mile faster than anything that I've seen off the bike in training here. But it's because I just didn't really get too tied up in the numbers and I focused on the effort. When I got to Santa Rosa, I was asking myself, what's my breathing pattern? What are the things what's my cadence? What's my things that I've been cueing on that when I'm in not great environments have yielded certain results, but because I was in favorable environments in Santa Rosa, I was ready for those efforts, which just made me go faster. So think about it in this regard. Maintain your intensities. Think about trying to leave each workout where you felt like you could have gone a little bit faster, and make sure that you vary up your training environment a little bit. That definitely helps. But the biggest thing, and like Tanya and I will talk about sometimes, hey, what should we talk about on the live? And she's like, you know, sometimes people just need to hear you're not alone, or they're not alone, because a lot of times, look, we all deal with it. It's just a matter of, you know, the best athletes are the ones that are able to have the success over time. They deal with it. And just like I reached out to Matt and he's like, hey, I see motivation even in myself come in waves. You know, it's like sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, and just you have to be able to just meter those efforts and not overreact. So I hope everybody has a really great weekend. I will also say, I just saw George Behan get on here too. Amazing, amazing rolfer, and reminded me, if you're coming into your race and you're within a few weeks of your race, the best thing that you can do is show up to the start line healthy right now. So if you have any nagging injuries that you think is going to continue to be a problem, don't be so insecure that you have to train through them. Get your body right, because the best thing that you can do is be on that start line as healthy as possible. So have a great weekend, everybody. Hope everybody trains safe, and I look forward to seeing you all next week, if not sooner. Bye.